So, good morning, everyone. How are you doing?
Great. Ooh.
Well, I'm so happy to be able to talk to two of the stars from our new world premiere of the limited series Teacher of the Year by Jim Dalglish, who's also joined us. Good morning, Jim. And Miranda and Calvin, I first just want to start by saying congratulations, and your relationship on screen is so real and wonderful. And I don't want to spend all my time talking about it, but I do have a question. The first question is: Have you met in person ever?
Nope.
I know. It's really remarkable, and so I'd like each of you to just spend a minute because I know personally, Jim, for many years. What was it like for you guys working with Jim on this really ambitious project? I'll start with you, Miranda.
Working with Jim, I had met him once, and he was lovely, and he said, "I have roles for women," and I thought, "You've never seen me act." And he just started sending me stuff, and I realized, oh, he's a gorgeous playwright. And I only knew him in that capacity. So getting to work with him on this as a director, it turns out he's also such a kind, distinctive director, and getting to see him in these different aspects was so cool because I didn't know. And I trusted him implicitly as an actor, which is, it sounds precious, but it's a gift.
Well, and I think you would have to, in a situation like this where there are so many variables that are new to a lot of us, not being in the same physical space and all of that.
His patience was legendary. I never ever saw him lose his temper, where I would have been setting things on fire. And getting to work with Calvin, just sometimes people are matched and they just mesh, they just connect, and it doesn't happen all the time. And what was really nice was at Calvin's suggestion, we FaceTimed to run lines. He didn't start with that. He said, "Okay, so let's talk about our characters." And I went, "Oh my God." Because I didn't know what I was doing. But he was so just open as a person and as an actor, wanting to talk about stuff that made me really uncomfortable. But doing so in a space where it was okay. And I just realized, oh, this guy's solid. He's a mensch. And then get to see him the next day when we were filming, it was, "Oh, there you are. Hi, it's so good to see you again." And then we did that again the second time. I was going to reach out to him after another young Black man was murdered. And I thought, who am I to reach out and say, "Are you okay?" And then he texted me and I said, "Can we?" And he said, "Sure." So it was just two people hanging out. And when I see us on screen, I think, oh, they were totally married.
Yeah.
He's got her number.
Yeah.
And I was always so glad to see him on screen because we mesh and we had each other.
Yeah, so I couldn't agree more. He has your character's number, and the very first time we get to meet him, you can tell in that in that very first look. So Calvin, to you, same question about Jim and Miranda.
Thank you, Miranda, for that. I really appreciate that. And to piggyback off of what Miranda just said, you know, the very first conversation that I had with Jim, I asked Jim, why did you write this? Why did you create this, and why now? And that conversation, it's so funny that sometimes art, it even sometimes one of my mentors said, sometimes you may not even get your why until months later, after you complete a project. And so I heard Jim initially, and especially with all the theater companies and the studios and everything in 2020 that was saying, you know, we're about, you know, diversity and we're about X, Y, Z. I heard him speak from a place of empathy, and he used the word bird's eye view, seeing a situation from a bird's eye view. I said, okay, like he's speaking the language that I speak about empathy and about connection. But I was like, it's not, I was like, okay, I'm going to be vulnerable here. And I said, yes, because we speak the same language, but I'm not quite there. It took a little while for me to catch up. And so we're in the grooves of creating this thing. And I was like, I'll trust, because it sounds, my artistic mind is like, he's creating this from people all over the country. Yes. I was like, I'm trying to catch up, And then I meet Miranda. And to, just like you said, to work with someone who, again, we're like, okay, we're doing this thing and we don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to get there. And with this heavy content, this heavy conversation around not only this really arduous year that we had of 2020, compounded with the pandemic, but then the pandemic or the virus of racism and social unrest that we had, and you sit in that conversation with Miranda, and she created a beautiful blanket for me to feel comfortable as her co-star. It was just a beautiful safe space, and we walked away knowing Annie and Devon, we were just able to shoot from the hip. The next day, I think it actually, we did that first scene. I don't know if you're going to add this, but we did it in, I think, 2 takes. And I said to Jim, I was like, wait, what? Are you sure? He's like, I got it. This is, trust me.
I have it. Wow. My mind was blown. It was fantastic.
Yeah. And
Well,
so,
yeah, go ahead.
and additionally, just that they both provided that, and again, back to that why, to connect with Marcus, to connect with, and to literally see the way this process unfolded. There was even a day that we were filming, and the George Floyd, the conviction of Chauvin happened literally right before we started filming. I was like, okay, this is our why. So I really, Jim, thank you for writing this, because I watched a seminar on Brene Brown for work yesterday, and it spoke about really getting into sitting in the uncomfortable places. We have to sit in those uncomfortable places, and we may not understand each other. We may not exactly know where the other one is coming from, but it's saying, I'm willing to sit here with you and we will get through this together. So
thank
that
you
was that experience. Yeah.
And thank you for saying that, because it is uncomfortable, and Jim and I talked early on too about, you know, we're 2 white men talking about race and being uncomfortable, and I realized early on that you know that Jim was taking the telling of the story so seriously, and but you kind of hit the nail on the head in that the why. I love the story of the why. And Jim, so I know that you're thrilled with these 2. So talk a little bit about working with them, and I'll say thank you as well for writing the show. The more I watch it and live with it, I'm just really, really impressed.
Well, thank you, David. We'll start with Miranda. The first time I saw Miranda, she was on a panel discussion in Boston about self-production, right? And there was a bunch of people on the panel, and the Miranda was over at the end, and I kept on doing this, you know, because she didn't get a lot of time to speak, but my attention kept on going to Miranda, and I was going, why the hell is my attention keep on going to this woman over here at the end? You know, what is going on? And I'm really sensitive to people who have just charisma, right? I mean, just Miranda, both Miranda and Calvin are like empathy vacuums, right? You know, they get up on screen and on stage, and you just go like that right into them. I'm almost instantly, and that's what I look for in an actor. That and courage and bravery, and the other thing is trust. When I met Calvin, I've never met him in person. I can't wait for that to happen. But Calvin was recommended by someone who recommended someone who recommended someone who recommended Calvin to me. It was like, you know, and it was really late in the casting process, and I realized I had to get the right characters, the right actors for this project. So Calvin got on the Zoom, and within the lights came on, the video came on, and he spoke, and almost the first thing out of my mouth, the first thing was going to be, "You've got it. You've got the role." I mean, basically, it was because it was the same thing, this just magnetism, this amazing quality that just is extraordinary. But I think the most amazing thing about them is that they both trusted me. And, you know, as a playwright and director and producer, that is just so golden that they actually could trust me with this work, writing from a female perspective, from a Black male perspective. And I think the reason they trusted me is that I tried to make the environment as open as possible. Calvin, like, you came in a few times and said, "Jim, this line right here, what do you know how this makes me feel? Do you know how this makes Devon feel?" And I said, "Calvin, tell me about how this makes Devon feel." Okay. And we had these wonderful conversations, you know, the actors and me. And I was able to go back and rewrite things and really make sure that I was doing honor and justice to my characters, because that was my number one thing, is that I've got to make sure, if I'm going to tackle these issues, that I really honor these people and respect my actors and take advantage of their brilliance. And let me tell you, these are two brilliant actors that any director would love to work with, would give anything to work with. They're just extraordinary.
Well, for sure. I couldn't agree more. And for everyone watching right now, the other great thing about Teacher of the Year is that we're releasing 2 episodes every Friday at 7:30 through June 2nd. And you can purchase a ticket for the whole series and catch up. You can watch episodes over and over again. It's a really great deal. And the other thing I would like to point out for Jim is anyone who may not know, he's also edited this whole thing. So, you know, not just writing and directing the show, but to deliver such a beautiful product is anyone who's done any piece of that knows how incredibly time consuming and difficult it is, and you've managed to do a spectacular job from the quality perspective too.
Well, thanks, David. I can't tell you how many YouTube videos I watched to teach myself to do this.
I know.
It's not enough to climb, but thank you.
I know. So I was at the first table read, and I've read the play. 5 of the episodes are I've seen so far, but I know what's coming. And I just can't wait to see both of you in the how this really tense relationship you have going on is going to develop. And bravo again to both of you, and thanks for being part of it. Our audiences are loving it, and we'll see you again on screen on Friday, and then we'll have a big celebration at the end of it. And for you Californians, we'll Zoom you in somehow.
I wish I could be there.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.